Duplicating a Trello board should save you time, not create more clutter. So let me show you how to do it the right way. Hey, I'm Lucy Reyes, and in this quick tutorial, I'm going to walk you through how to duplicate a Trello board with just a few simple clicks and making sure that your Trello board stays nice and clean. And stick with me because after the step-by-step tutorial, I'm going to share how to decide when duplicating a Trello board makes sense versus when you should just start from scratch. Plus, how to use template in your own workspace so that way everything stays nice and tidy. And if you want even more ways to make Trello work for you, grab my free guide down in the description below to learn the 9 essential Trello time-saving tips that I absolutely love and use in my business every single day. It is packed with quick hacks, so yeah, go ahead and grab that. It's in the description below. All right, so let's start with how to make a copy of this Trello board. So we're gonna go to this top corner. We're gonna go down where it says copy board, and then you're going to update the settings for that particular Trello board that you're making the copy for. So there's a couple of things that you need to decide here. So you need to decide what the title is going to be, which workspace is going to go to, the privacy setting, and if you're going to keep the card. So let's go through these one by one. The title. The title is so important, yet is so often overlooked, okay? This is where you want to make sure that you are giving your new Trello board a clear and specific title. Please do not name it something like everything or random, because even though right now, today, you know exactly what is in that everything board, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, a year from now, you're not going to remember. You're not going to remember. You're going to have to be like, wait, what's that board? What's in there? And then you're going to have to open it up, go through it and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that task. Yeah. So let's not do that, okay? You want to get super clear and super specific with the board's purpose and then name it accordingly. And if your board can't do that, if it has way too much, then that means that you need to split it up into multiple boards. But that is a whole another discussion and something that I help my clients with inside of the Cheerful System Society. But right now, we're going to pretend like we know exactly what the new board is going to be. So we're going to title it Training YouTube Content Planner, okay? So Training YouTube Content Planner, that's what we're going to use for these purposes. The workspace, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it in my primary workspace here. Now for the privacy settings, you have the options between private, workspace, and public. I, for the most part, always recommend you use the private settings. I work with solopreneurs, and if that's you, private is gonna be your go-to one, so you can leave that as is. Workspace means if you have other members inside of your workspace, they'll be able to see and edit the board, but it's kind of the same thing if you add them as an actual member to the board as well. So I usually don't really see a point for this. I don't have any boards that have this, and then I rarely see anything for the public because you're using this for your own task management. So yeah, we're gonna keep it private, okay? And then to keep the cards and keep template cards, you're going to want to keep this checked off because otherwise what's the point of copying the board, right? The whole point is to copy everything over. So for the most part, I always keep this checked off. And then just to keep in mind, the things that do not copy over are activities, comments, and members, which means labels and due dates and checklists do get copied over. So let's go ahead and make a copy of this so you can see what the new board will look like. All right, so this is the new board, and as you can see, it's like an exact replica of the board before, right? So this board copied everything over: the labels, the due dates, the checklist items. It even kept the checklist items marked off. So this is something to take into consideration when you are making a duplicate of your Trello board, okay? Everything copies over except the comments, activity, and the members. So what I actually suggest is if you have a board where you know that you're going to want to duplicate everything or it's a specific project, and I'm going to give you an example, then you're gonna want to create a template-sized version of that Trello board for yourself before making a copy. You're going to make a clean copy. So for example, I have a course creation workflow. I also have this as a template inside of my shop, but this is a course creation workflow where this is a blank copy. So that way, anytime I'm going to create a new course, I can just come over here and make a copy of this template. And this has everything that I need. It has the labels already pre-created in here. It has a checklist that I'm going to use for the different lessons and the different cards. Nothing is checked off. There's no labels applied. There's no members applied. And that way it's a clean version, okay? And this is what you want to do every time you're gonna have a specific project, is to make a template-sized version for yourself. That way you can duplicate that Trello board over and over and over again as much as you need to. However, here when things get a little bit strategic, because duplicating a board is not always going to be the answer. So you can ask yourself these two questions. Is this a brand new project that you've never done anything before similar to it? And if so, then you're going to want to create the board from scratch. But if you have done something similar before and it has some structure that you can reuse, then that's when you're going to want to duplicate a board, but only after creating that template-sized version for yourself. For example, when I started working on YouTube, I didn't have a process that was similar to it. And so I created the board from scratch, and it's a system that I will continue to refine the more I publish, the more my processes change. So I'm creating it from scratch and refining it as I go. But when I have a new launch coming up for a course or program, I have my launch system already created for me. That's also available in my shop if you're interested in that. But I have this template-sized version with all 200 plus tasks involved, from the prep process to the planning to the marketing, the entire launch process. It's already mapped out in a template board that I created for myself with my processes, my everything. And I just reuse that every time, or I make a copy of that every time I'm going to create a new launch. I don't have to create it from scratch. I don't have to add all of the checklist items from scratch, and it's there. So this is how you create a copy of your board. And the tip to create a template-sized version for yourself, and make sure that you're naming your Trello boards accordingly. So remember, duplicating a Trello board should save you time. It shouldn't be adding to the chaos, okay? You want to use these simple steps, apply the quick checks, make sure that you are selecting the appropriate settings, and then being super intentional about when to duplicate versus when to start from scratch, and ensuring that you're naming your boards accordingly, okay? So now I really want to hear from you. Which Trello board are you gonna go and duplicate next, okay? I am so curious on the types of Trello boards that you're creating, and if you want to drop the name of the Trello board, I can even give you some pointers on whether that name is specific enough or not. So go ahead and drop it in the comments, and I cannot wait to see your answers. And don't forget to go ahead and grab my free guide, the 9 Essential Trello Time Savers, in the link and the description below, okay? These hacks are the exact ones that I use in my own business every single day, and I know that they're going to save you a ton of hours too. All right, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.